A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away, Zareth made another video. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today we're going to talk about the Jedi situation and where the Jedi go. There's a ton of them. It's a huge faction, but how do we even figure out where they all go? Because there's a lot of places. You don't want to miss it. A lot of people are new and they don't know what's going on with Jedi. A lot of people are old and they also don't know anything about any of the Jedi. Like Elf Jedi. What do you guys do with her? No one knows? Good answer. So, huge shout out to my patrons. They know where Elf Jedi goes. Maybe after watching this video they do. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. And thank you to everyone who supports this channel for free as well. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, mount the algorithm, guys. We're almost to 20,000. Maybe we already are. I didn't even check yesterday, actually. But I guess let's just set the goal of this video to get to somewhere around 30,000 new subs, so that'll be great. Thank you for being unreasonable with me. Now, there are a lot of places Jedi go on our roster, and it's kind of overwhelming in a way. Here's all just a screenshot of. This isn't even all of them, actually. Not even all of them, but they go lots of places. They get out. They're not just hermits. Well, some of them are. But most of them go places, and they're force sensitive. They're going places. Trust me. It's a little overwhelming. So when you're a new player, these are the squads that should kind of be your goal a little bit, at least. So you like the old school Padme team, fun times. I don't know if you want to put C-3PO there. Keep in mind, folks, the pictures, the screenshots on some of these bigger shots are not going to be the idealized team. If you look at this huge screenshot like that, these are all like, hey, these are teams that could work, but they're not the ideal teams necessarily. Sometimes they are, but you'll have to watch the video to find out what they are. And so similarly with the Padme team, I do think that's the idealized team, unless you have Cat. You can put Cat on there instead of Anakin or something like that. Anyways, the Cat being Ahsoka, Commander Ahsoka Tano, the C-3PO there is pretty strong, however, and eventually that team just kind of goes away, unfortunately. But then if you're working on Phoenix, early game, I think Phoenix is going to be the team for most new players. And, if you go for Star Killer kind of early on, a lot of new player guides are suggesting that. And I think that that's fairly wise because you get important, good characters. You can also build Mon Mothma team with it. You can make a Jedi Revan team because he's fairly easy to get early game. And he is probably the best not Galactic Legend, legendary level character out there. So lots of cool stuff for early players. But then, like, how do we go from there all the way to this madness here? Like that's the question, folks. And let's answer it a little bit, at least. So I guess let's go for the obvious ones first. This took me a long time to figure out, like, how to show all this stuff. And so I think the biggest thing is we're going to break it down into like the really easy stuff. So, Phoenix, Kyle Katarn teams, there's a lot of teams that just need one character out there and or in it. And, that way we're like, okay, that Jedi is accounted for, and we can move on to more important, cooler Jedi. And so Phoenix Squadron is one of them that is probably, for new players, this is a very relevant, very important thing to be looking at because you want to unlock Thrawn, you want to do all that. And I do have a Faction Essentials video. Go search Zareth Phoenix Squadron Faction Essentials or something like that. You can find it pretty easily. And we talk about which characters are the best. And so for Phoenix, there were two Jedi on the team, which is Kanan and Ezra. And unfortunately, what you'll learn, folks, is that Ezra is just kind of in a sad state just because he does hit kind of hard. He calls assists. He does some cool stuff, actually. And he just doesn't really have a home right now in the game. He could go with Phoenix and he works okay, but at the end of the day, if you look at the numbers, Sabine is just better in almost every circumstance than Ezra, and unfortunately, that's just the state of affairs, folks. You don't want Ezra there. Like, you can put him on you can use him as a backup Jedi somewhere else. You can just not gear him, I suppose. It feels kind of bad to say it. Remember, the Kanan could go with Galactic Legend Leia, but I wouldn't really advise it, honestly. We'll talk more about the Leia team later, but another team, so there's 2 builds for General Skywalker. This is pretty cut and dry. You get General Skywalker, yeah, in Arena or whatever, you can throw him with Kenobi or throw him with whoever. I mean, he's probably fine with even just, like, Jedi Revan or something. He can even be a leader for a team that isn't full of clones, and then you just stop people from being able to revive with his lead, which is kind of fun. But if you want to go for the most bang for your buck, you probably end up going with either the 501st, or you go with the 501st with Chubby Rex. And Double Rex, so cool, so awesome. I mean, he is good there. He's not transcendent, but I mean, he does some cool stuff. It does break up the Phoenix team, of course, if you do that, but that's not my concern. You guys can figure it out, I'm sure. Oh, hey, you're watching this video, so maybe you can't. I don't know. Not to insult you. I'm sure you're very smart. So we have Qui-Gon Jinn here, and this one's a little bit tricky. We just got Kelleran Beck, which is, you know, the character, the actor who played Jar Jar, you know, and he played a very minor role in the last Mandalorian series and our season. Now he's on the team, and he has become almost more important than Qui-Gon Jinn on this team. So this is just strictly speaking GAC, and a lot of these builds are going to end up being GAC, guys. I'll show you some Rise of the Empire stuff and whatever. Like, we'll go over some of that stuff, but for the most part, we're talking about GAC and Territory War builds for the most part, and you know how we're going to segment these things. And the Qui-Gon core is now going to have Kelleran Beck in it. You want Ki-Adi-Mundi there. You want Anakin. We'll talk about Ki-Adi-Mundi a little bit later, but I mean, Qui-Gon totally stole poor old Anakin from Padme. Or I don't know if Anakin's poor, but Padme is kind of sad. But Anakin absolutely needs to be there. But you need Galactic Republic Jedi if you want Anakin to do damage. If you read how much damage he does on his unique, he does a lot of extra damage if they're all Galactic Republic, and that's kind of the theme that we're going for. Qui-Gon with his Omicron really boosts any Jedi, but with Anakin there, you probably want to be Galactic Republic. And Ki-Adi-Mundi, also, his Zeta is for Galactic Republic only, and so you have double incentive to do it. And then Kelleran Beck is like, hey, I happen to be Galactic Republic, can you use me? And they're like, yeah, actually, sure. And if you want to put him in Territory Wars, poor old Qui-Gon, I'm using poor old, apparently, guys, that's gonna be a thing. Oh wait, it already is. But, I mean, you can... Poor old Qui-Gon doesn't even make the cut in the Territory War build, unfortunately. And then, I mean, one build that I didn't mention, which I think probably does deserve mention, I apologize for not putting it in the actual screenshots, but so you want the core of Qui-Gon, Anakin, and Ki-Adi-Mundi. If you don't have Kelleran Beck, one really good option is going to be General Kenobi and Snips, like the first Ahsoka character, and it's really good, it's really strong, gets a lot of holds if you have really fast Jedi. You need really fast Jedi. The problem is that excludes Kelleran Beck, and if you only have one of the two, then it's almost not worthwhile. So, I don't know, I feel like we're kind of moving away from that era, and that's why I didn't have it on the screenshots, but I mean, it's gotta be like probably approximately 1 billion holds in GAC, so I hate to just kind of exclude it entirely. Kyle Katarn is a character that, okay, it used to just go exclusively with Mon Mothma. And, you know, he's a rebel fighter. He goes with her, does some really cool stuff for that team. He really does. He makes that team awesome. And now that Saw is here, if you have a high relic with an Omicron team and lots of relics on characters that you don't really need to have relics on, like it's kind of the definition of a luxury team. If you do that, though, he's probably better with Saw. It can give people some serious issues trying to clear it. You do need some good relics and stuff, and that ends up being a little bit where he lives. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He's kind of just abandoned Mothma. Mothra's like, should I just go hang out with Leia or something? I'm like, I don't care, Mon Mothma. You do your thing. So go summon worthless guy and do your thing, and I don't want to hear about it, please. So, anyways, Kyle Katarn goes there. One thing I should point out, actually, is he goes really well with Jedi who can call him to assist because he's constantly training to become a Jedi. He's emulating his place in the video game, or, what he does, and he's training to become a Jedi Knight. And if people call him to assist, then he'll become a Jedi faster. Ironically, he's in fact, if you put his Omicron on, he wants to be with Jedi, but that's for territory battles, and we don't care about those, especially because the one time that he's the most important is the special mission, and you just want him with Rebel fighters again. You can actually see the build there at the bottom. Okay, so Shaak Ti, she gets her own page here, folks, because she goes with a lot of different teams. She can go with Gidme. We'll talk about Gidme in a little bit, but she is amazing there because she cleanses debuffs or dispels debuffs on her basic before damage goes through. Really nice stuff. She can also go, if your Bad Batch aren't quite fast enough against certain teams, but you can take a couple hits, she gains so much turn meter from people hitting her stupid clone friends that she's able to get enough turn meter, hand the turn to Echo as God intended, and then Echo starts the whole turn meter madness with all the shenanigans. Remember, if you do that, you're not going to get the 2-turn stun AoE with Wrecker off right away because you don't have a 5th Bad Batch character to give him the final 2 stacks. He's not going to pre-taunt either, so kind of sad, a little bit dicey, and that's usually not how you use Shaak Ti these days, though it is still a valid use. She also goes really nicely with Jedi Master Luke because she cleanses. A lot of times he's facing really tough teams that you need to be able to cleanse. You need to be able to take these teams out. Like Lord Vader, he's just all the damage over times can really ruin your day, and she can cleanse that. She can dispel buffs. She can heal people. She's really nice there. And then with Kenobi, one thing that people kind of overlook, you can run that Togruta team, and I'm not saying that it's the very best team, but something that has happened to a lot of people that, like, you know how Jedi training Rey gets to the point where her mastery builds so that she dodges everything when she's on a Rey team. So you kill Rey, you kill Ben, you kill everyone, and then you time out because you can't hit Rey because she's got 100% or more evasion. And that happens with Shaak Ti on a Kenobi team. He builds her evasion and mastery so much that eventually no one can kill her either. I've seen it a couple times. It's a tragic screenshot, folks. I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing it, but it does work that way a little bit. A little more on Shaak Ti later. Now, the Gidme team, I mean, this is probably where we mention it most. So remember, I'm not going to explain how Courage works and how Gideon works with that team. You guys can read it on the screen. I mean, I'll just go over it briefly. Like you need Galactic Republic support, and when Gideon uses a certain move, Padme's team doesn't lose turn meter, but they do gain a lot of protection up, and then your opponents lose a lot of turn meter, and then you have all the stacks of courage, which WTF pwn your opponents. You put the pwn in opponent, apparently. So, anyways, this is kind of the place where Padme hangs out the most. She's not a Jedi. She can go with Kenobi and all that, but I like this team, and it's killing the Malicos team pretty consistently right now. And I don't know exactly if it's gonna continue to work that way once Datacrons kind of shift and everything. But for right now, I do like putting her with Bad Batch. In fact, I like to put Shaak Ti with the Gidme team. Remember, though, there's also some worthless Jedi that kind of like to go on the Gidme squad. Like Eth Koth is a Galactic Republic support. Or Ayla Secura, she's not totally worthless, but she is a support. Grandmaster Yoda, also not worthless, but he's also a support. You can go look at, Cup is a Galactic Republic support. I've literally run a team with Padme, Eth Koth, and Cup, and beat a team for most banners, so it's pretty silly. Good place for some Jedi, though. So let's see. Here's the teams that we had, and you can see some red X's on them. Those are the ones we've covered. And okay, so what do we have left? We don't have too many left. Let's keep on moving here, folks. So Leia, she really likes Jedi Rebel tanks, which is Kanan and Old Ben. And they do some interesting stuff. Really, those are the only Jedi that probably go with her. You take... and honestly, I don't think the benefits are quite all the way there to really like overly prioritize. I do like the combination of Ben and Baze. Those two are pretty nice, just because you get the pre-taunt, and then eventually Old Ben does taunt, and he's, it's a good combo. I did get a lot of holds until Jabba decided to go completely crazy, and he's Super Saiyan 10,000 or whatever the number is. I'm not that familiar with that corner of nerd culture. But I'm gonna get, that's all the comments I'm gonna have, actually, is people talking about what Super Saiyan actually is and the limits, and Goku for some reason. I'm sure that'll be a good riveting discussion and comments. So I look forward to that, and maybe skipping through some of that as well. Anyways, I'm just dismissive. It's not nice. But Leia doesn't really... they do benefit from having some tanks. I do like Old Ben here because the AoE ability block it just goes so nicely with what Leia does and stuff. So, he reduces turn meter and all of that. He does a lot of cool stuff, honestly. And so he kind of goes with her. You don't have to put him with her, but it kind of just builds as to why, like, we haven't talked about Starkiller yet, but this directly affects some of the other teams. So first off, let's get another full character review in a way. Like Mace Windu, he goes with a lot of teams, and the team that I didn't put down here is Qui-Gon Jinn. Pretty good there as well, though I would say he's kind of a filler there. He does fine, especially with Keller and Beck now. He does pretty good, in fact. Anyways, he goes really nicely on like a double tank Jedi Master Kenobi squad, which, messes with Inquisition, trying to clear you and all that stuff. He's really good against Malgus, like, especially before your account has Jedi Cal. You can kill some Malgus teams, not the like Malgus with DR and DR's whole gang, but like the Malgus teams that are like the Kmart version of Malgus. Like, you go to Kmart and you're like, oh yeah, sure, that can go on defense, I guess. Mace is the king against those teams. He's like, yeah, I can kill those teams. I'm confident that I'll kill some of them, at least. You're like, wait, some? And he's like, just don't, never mind. Never you mind. He can go on Starkiller teams as well. He goes on tons of teams, lots of good Jedi teams. I like that Mace can also go on Starkiller. He can call assists. He can, he's going to tank a little bit, at least. He can ability block on basic. He's got his dispel. He's got all kinds of really cool stuff. His kit is just chock full of really awesome stuff, guys. And he goes with Galactic Republic teams for the most part, or Starkiller. Lots of different places. And so, talking about Master Kenobi here, a lot of times he wants I think the best team is probably the one on the top, the one with double tank, double Togruta, and you're good to go. And then, if you want, though, Kenobi he likes Galactic Republic more than Jedi. Like, he doesn't care. Jedi are fine, but for the most part, you go with Kat on the team. You'll mostly need Kat, and she's not even a Jedi, but you want Kenobi to go with Kat, and then you're gonna want Galactic Republic in general. So you can see, you can put Elf Jedi with him, and he just cares about Galactic Republic tanks. So you can put Clone Wars Chewie there, so you got a couple pre-taunts. And, there was a few weeks there where I was running Clone Wars Chewie on my Kenobi team, and no one could clear it. And everyone was like, oh, it's a meme. And I'm like, no, I just needed a Galactic Republic tank there because I literally just had run out of them at the time. Is Clone Wars Chewie, are Clone Wars Chewie or Elf Jedi the best options for Kenobi? No, absolutely not. But they can go there if you needed to. And if you're trying to do the mirror match, honestly, instead of wasting your General Kenobi, having like trading, Cat is gonna kill your Kenobi, and then your cat kills theirs, and it's it's a swap kind of. Instead of that, you could just bring one of these low value Galactic Republic Jedi if you want, or Galactic Republic tanks, and that works. In Rise of the Empire, you can run Kenobi with Bad Batch, and it kind of works. It works well in like phase 2 and 3, I think, maybe just 2. But it's pretty good. Kenobi kills a lot of stuff, guys. One of the best Galactic Legends. But the thing that I want to make sure everyone understands is he goes with Galactic Republic first. He cares about Jedi. He likes Jedi just fine. But the thing he truly cares about, he cares about having Cat on his team, because Cat is amazing. And then he cares about Galactic Republic and what they can do. And yeah, there was some stuff about Jedi in his kit and everything, but just remember, Galactic Republic can kind of swap in if you need to, because these splits kind of get tight. Like you start running out of Jedi real fast. So let's talk about Ki-Adi-Mundi and his amazing Jedi hood. I can't even imagine how he even like takes it off. Like I hope that there's a zipper on it or something. But so Ki-Adi-Mundi, for a long time when he was released, I thought for sure he was gonna go with Jedi Master Kenobi, and then Cat was released, and Cat just kind of was the obvious choice for Kenobi. But I thought Cam might have a chance. The problem is Cat benefits everyone on her team as long as they're light side. Ki-Adi-Mundi requires Galactic Republic Jedi, and you can't have both on the team. And so Ki-Adi-Mundi, the question, like everyone asks, should we work on Ki-Adi-Mundi? Should we farm him? And honestly, like the Qui-Gon team is cool. It is. It's fun. It kills stuff. You can put Kit Fisto on there and have it be a legitimate, strong team still. And Ki-Adi-Mundi absolutely makes that team stronger. Or you can take him with Jedi Master Luke and call him to assist all the time. Or he goes on a lot of good teams. He does a pile of damage, and I just don't think he's worth the GET3 price you pay, or going to Geonosis for that matter. Most guilds are going to be able to do Rise of the Empire, and I think that's gonna just end up being better, folks. In my opinion, that to me that seems significantly stronger. And so I don't know, like newer accounts, I think for the most part should just not farm him. And I hate saying that because he is legitimately very strong, but I don't think he's worth the price of that many Kyrotech. For 5 shards, that's a lot of Kyrotech, man. It is a ton, and then you get him, you're like, oh, I have to gear him now, and now he just goes on like an okay team. I'm sorry, you guys can let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree. I don't think he's worth it, honestly. Not anymore, not lately. He's great, and also so expensive, so crazy, stupidly expensive. So okay, here are the teams that we have left. We have Rey, we have a couple Jedi splits, we have the garbage characters that we don't actually go over, so I don't know why they're in the screenshot. But and then Starkiller. So why did we wait so long to talk about Starkiller? Well, because all of these characters have kind of shown up in all these other builds, and so Starkiller needs a Jedi, and what's more, he really wants a Jedi tank. You can see I underlined the parts in his kit that like they pre-taunt and they gain damage immunity, and but they have to be Jedi tanks in order to do that. Like you could in theory still take like Kyle Katarn or Grandmaster Yoda. You could take Ki-Adi-Mundi there, but you need a tank in order to activate these abilities, and those abilities are fairly strong, and you really want to have them. The thing is, he doesn't care. He doesn't care what Jedi tank it is. as long as he has a Jedi tank. So you could take like Jedi Knight Guardian, I guess, as well. You could take Kanan, all these characters. So really, the very best tank. These are kind of listed in order of my preference. If I could, I would take Kenobi with him, but Kenobi is needed on a lot of other teams. The Mace goes on a lot of other teams as well. Old Ben normally loves to be on Starkiller, and honestly, I think Old Ben, that's kind of the ideal place for him, is Starkiller. Though Leia just sometimes really wants to have Old Ben on her team. She's like, yeah, you're my comfort zone. You saved me when I was a little girl, and you're an old man now. So continue to save me, please, a-hole. And then Juhani, keep in mind, folks, if you have her Omicron, you need to put her as the Jedi in Territory Wars. And then, so here's the thing, guys. I was looking at the numbers just recently. And, you know, I've been telling people, yeah, guys, work on Plo, work on Plo. He's the best Jedi now for Starkiller, at least in GAC. And what I found is he's like, has the same win rate against all the teams that Starkiller counters. He has the same win rate as Juhani. Like, not distinguishable hardly at all. Like, a couple, like, not even one full percentage point on most things. Like, they're almost exactly equal. And I hate to admit that, because I love the idea of Plo Koon there. The one thing I will say is Plo Koon is also needed in fleets, and he wants to be Relic 8 against a lot of people, depending on which, you know, where you're at in the game. But if you're trying to outspeed people with a high relic IG-88 and killing that triple attacker executor fleet, then he needs to be relic 7 or 8, in which case relic 7 or 8 on Plo Koon is probably going to be the tiebreaker between him and Juhani. If you just want to relic 1 and you don't care about the Galactic Republic fleet doing anything worth value, then I guess you can just stick with Juhani. Though I think, and plus, Plo Koon is eccentric. You can tell your friends, you're like, yeah, I have a Relic 8 Plo Koon, and they'll be like, why? Oh, Zareth says he's about as good as Juhani. It's pretty good. So, alright, the final splits, folks. And this is why I'm always like, guys, just take Jedi for offense, for the most part, because you need to be able to kind of mishmash. You know, come watch me on Twitch sometime. You know, you can find the link to the video description, and it's free to watch. It's a good time. But trying to navigate which Jedi to take in a certain situation is tough. I mean, I have a few archetypes here. It's like the Jedi Revan team that can beat like Malgus and Zori. Like all those teams are cool. And then you have just like the leftover Jedi like Ezra, Ayla, Elf Jedi. All of those can go with Jedi Master Luke, or you can do the kind of Titans version of the team where it kills pretty much everything that you're faced off against, but then you just don't get too good Jedi splits. So those are a couple places you can go. You can also use Basti lead. She's pretty nice sometimes in the right circumstance. I mean, we can't go too in depth here, guys. This video is already going to be half an hour, it looks like. So you know, and then finally we have Baris, and Baris is very plug and play. She just heals people when they get crit. They heal 20% of their max health, and she does some cool stuff. Honestly, she's good. She's a traitor, but she does fine. I honestly, guys, my account at 10 million has her at gear 1, I think. Or at least, yeah, gear 1, maybe not level 1, but like my 10.5 million roster that's free to play-ish. Low spending, we'll say. I don't think she's that necessary anymore, guys. She's fine. She does some cool stuff, and I just don't think she's that super worth it. Maybe she is. Maybe we'll all discover differently, folks, and I'll tell you otherwise in other videos. So watch all my videos to find out if I've changed my mind about Baris. People used to call her Zaris because it was a distinction of, does she have her Zeta on or not? If she doesn't have her Zeta, it's just Baris. And that was all embarrassing back then if you didn't have your Zeta. So, anyways, you can put her with Rey. Rey kind of likes Jedi. She does. And honestly, they made it so that Rey didn't have the Jedi tag because they thought, CG, then they openly admitted this, they thought that Jedi Knight Revan would be broken if Rey had the Jedi tag. And so that was just for balancing purposes, but Just because she's good with light side characters does not mean that she is just a transcendent Jedi leader or anything. It just means that she goes well with some light side characters. So Baris is good in certain builds, like we're trying to build teams that are tough to beat for various reasons with certain builds and stuff, and Baris is right there in the mix trying to make it tough to kill Rey. And that's basically it, guys. I mean, those are the splits. I hope that this video was helpful to newer players, to medium players. I don't know, give me feedback if you think that this was just too simplistic, if it was too in-depth, if it was too vague. I don't know. I would love to hear feedback, guys. You know, just the Jedi situation in 2024. Let me know in the comments, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.